Alright, sorry about that. OBS has been doing this lately, and it really pisses me off. I think probably I need to update to the newest version, and I, went through the client stuff and was like, let's update, and it said it updated. And then, yeah. Well, no, you got scooped by the Twitch ads because OBS decided to quit, and so I had to restart the stream. Hooray! That's the other problem with also Twitch, is that my highlights thing is not working as it is supposed to, or I don't know how to work it properly. And normally when this happens, I should just be able to take the two videos and splice them together and then call it one video. But it doesn't like that for some reason, so it just throws a temper tantrum. And it's like, no, you can't add stuff from a new video. We'll call this a separate highlight. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. I don't know, whatever, it's fine. Okay, so anyway, what I had done was to do this and then keep doing it, and then take the result of all of this and say, okay, what are the sums? So 1, 2. All right, easy enough. That's the same as the other one was. It's all fine. Then here we get 322 is going to be 7. And then this is 20. 40, 61. 106, 166, 170, 182. Right, so eventually we could figure this out too. Like it's going to come out with some sort of pattern that we can get here and figure out what's going on with this. So it's not immediately clear what's going on. But then I said, okay, well, if we go back to what we were doing before, we end up with, in this particular case, right, the ratio here between all of these is 2. So it's always going to be 2. This one's changing. So much more interestingly, right? What is the ratio going to be between these particular numbers? So the ratio of the sums is going to be 2 to 1 is 2. 7 to 2 is 3.5. 20 to 7 is less than 3. 2.85. 714. Okay, 61 over 20. It's going to be 3.05. We've seen something like this before, right? When we took just the Fibonacci numbers by themselves and found the ratio between their successive terms, it gets us the golden ratio, or it will approximate the golden ratio eventually. So 182 over 61 is going to be 2.98. 3606. And then we can keep doing this, right? So we can get a value that this is approaching as it gets closer and closer to an infinite number of terms. So then I said, well, this is kind of interesting. And it converges fairly quickly, not like, 20 terms, like a Taylor series or something. But it converges with fair, decent amount of rapidity. So it's like 1 decimal place every 5, maybe 10 terms. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've looked at my data sheet, but it could also have been logarithmic after that. So, like, the first 10 terms are going to take, or the first 10 decimal places are going to take, like, 1 term, then 3, then like 5 terms, and then 25 terms, then 125 terms, or something like that, to get each of the individual decimal places going down. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but like I said, it's in my data sheet. So I said, okay, well, this is kind of interesting, and it's a new area of research, at least to me. I certainly haven't heard of anybody trying this before. And so I looked online in the Online Encyclopedia of Integer Sequences, and yes, this triangle, no surprise, is in there. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 7, 7, 3, 5, 15, 21, 15, 5. Yes, okay. Naturally, the triangle is in there. Okay, what if you add 3 terms? So 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2 stays the same. But now on the next row, we're adding all 3 of the upper rows to it. So this is going to be 2, 1, 1. It is going to be 4 on either side, on the flanks there. And then here, we're taking this triangle again. And this time, we are 8. Come on now. Boo. I can't enlarge the triangle. How stupid is that? All right. Why would... Oh, now you're going to do it. Okay. Damn it. Seriously. Could we just like 30% bigger? No? We're not doing that. Okay. I think it's following my cursor. So like it was out. I don't. Whatever. All right. So let's go like this. Let's erase the entire stroke and just kill it, and then make a new one. Aha! I'm smarter than it now. So we go like that. All right. So this is our new triangle. So then we go, okay, this is going to be 2, 3, 1, 1, 1. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 8, 8, 4. All right, cool. Then next row down. Right? 1, 2, 4 is going to get us 4, 6, 7. So 7 here, 7 there. This is going to be 12, 5 is 17, 18, 19. So 7, 19, and again, symmetric. And then the middle is going to be the far more interesting one. So here we get 16, 18, 23, 24, 25. Yes, all right. So 25 and 19 is going to be 44. 48, 50, 66, 68, 71. And of course I'm doing it manually, you know, there's no other way, right? It's just, I could look up my literal data. 26, 12 is 38, and 5 is 43. And then this is going to be 2, 4, and 7 is going to be 13 to go on the end. So 13, 43, 71. Okay, so then I called this Fibonacci triangle or Fibonacci sequence to get this again 1 1 1 2 3 2 4 8 8 4 7 19 25 19 7, etc. And then again do the sum and then do the ratio. Because again, this has a different sum and a different ratio, at least, you know, beyond the first few. So here we go, 1 2 7. And then here this is going to be 12 and 12 is 24. 26 by 2 is 50. Yeah, 52. And then 77. Okay, 71 doubled is, no. 71 and 43 is 114. 124, 127 doubled is 254. So now if we do this, right, this is going to be 2 to 1 is 2, 7 to 2 is 3.5, 24 to 7 is 3.4, woo, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7. 77 to 24 is 3.2083 repeated, and 254 to 77 is 3.2987. Right, so again, this is finding an interesting particular value. The ratio is going to converge. It's going to converge fairly nicely as we go on further and further. And then that can't be right. Then my thought was, okay, what happens if we then extend this as far as we possibly can? So the sum of any, you know, the location of anything is going to then be defined upon all of the numbers above it. So next logical step, right? Of course. So I did this for like, I don't know, only calculate the, you know, 10 previous, the 100 previous or something like that. Naturally, when you start getting the first like 100 positions, then they're set. Like there's no difference between 90 and 100 until you get to the 90th term. So we go with 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, because again, that's all the same. 3, let's see, right? No, it's 4. Man. That's not what I wanted. All right, so 4, and then in this particular case, we're adding up all the numbers above here, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's just, you know, 4, 8, 8, 4 is fixed. When we go down a row, it's going to be 8 on the ends, And in the middle here, we're going to get 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 5 is 17, 18, 19, 20. And then the very middle, we're going to add 8 and 8, 16, and 4 is 20, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 16 on the ends. To get the next number over, we're just adding like the 2 striped rows, I guess, on the ends here. So we get, and then it pretty much just ends up being, you know, the entire right row, the sum is 16, because that's how powers of 2 work. Right, it's the sum of all numbers before them, all powers of 2 before them are getting you that particular number. And in this case, wait, hang on. Yeah, no, we're good. We doubled the 1 here, but it's fine. So I lied, not exactly sum of all powers of 2 before it. Yeah, so 12, 14, 15, 16. Okay. And then here, this is going to be 16 just from that row. And then from the other diagonal, we get 28, 29, 32. So 16 and 32 is going to get 48. Again, here, we're just going to add everything up in that like sort of diamond shape thing. So here on the left, that gets us 4, 2, 1, 1 is 8. And then 8, 28 plus 8 is 36. And 4 is 40. 40, 66, 74, 76. All right, so I turn this one. Infinitacci. All right, because we're just going to say, let's add up all possible values in that triangle that's going to extend infinitely tall, well, not infinitely really, but up to the top. Our point of this triangle is going to extend infinitely downward as far as we can go. Obviously, that's going to kind of hamper what we're able to do here, but, you know, computing power, what it is and all that. All right, so we want the sums, and then we want the ratios. So again, 1, 2, 7, 24. And here we end up with 40 and 26 is 66, and 16 is going to be 82. 76, 48, ugh. And 16 is going to be 280. 280 divided by 82 is going to be 3.4. 41463 415. 82 over 24. 3.416 repeated. 24 over 7 is 3.42. 857. Right, and then 3.5. And then 2. So I looked at this, and immediately that jumped out. And obviously I didn't stop at this level. I went, 100. I went until the number that was contained in the cell of the totally used it database here. 100%. Yep. Yep. Didn't use a spreadsheet. It's fine. But as we went further and further down, it converged to, obviously it converged. They all converged, but it converged to a specific number, and I was like, wait, I know what that is. Like, almost positive. 100%. So eventually this came out to be 3.414.213.56.237.3095, and it kept going, and it kept matching with all of the numbers that I then, further checked. I plugged it into MATLAB and told it to give me like 100 decimal places or something like that, and it did, and it matched for both of these. So I knew that at the very least it was really close. But I understood what the number was. I don't necessarily understand why it is that number in particular. So the number in question is going to be 2 plus square root of 2. And this is why my ship in Elite Dangerous is call sign n-Simplex Pachinko and has a registration number 2 plus square root 2. In short. So I've been trying to figure out for a few years, and by years I mean like not really trying to figure out. No. My ship registration. Xaniolo, good evening. Welcome in. My name is Obi-Wan Pez. This is n-Simplex Pachinko. We are doing some talking about random bits of research that I had done over the years. Stuff that essentially has created the channel name. I'm going to try to get... I would actually like to get either my... like a vanity plate for a car, or... if I get an artist to do something really cool, get a tattoo, but I am untouched, generally speaking, so. Xan YOLO, okay, I get it now. So, I worked on a little bit of research that my, one of my old supervisors suggested. So, going back, way back, we have here what is known typically as the Pascal triangle. And then if we extend it into 3 dimensions, it makes this mess, which, granted, I wrote all over it, so you can't really see it that well, but nonetheless. This creates 3-dimensional layers, which all create what is termed an n-dimensional simplex. In this particular case, it's a tetrahedron. We know what the name is. It's nice and easy. It's a 3-dimensional 3-simplex. A simplex is the smallest shape that you can make within that dimension. Yeah. So this is a 3-dimensional Pascal triangle. So I decided, wait, if I took the 2-dimensional one and I extended, the original question that he asked was, okay, look, if we just do this for 2 dimensions, you can sum up all these values, and then you get a ratio. Oops. For the 2-dimensional one, you sum all the values up, and you get a ratio, in this case, of just 2. It's all powers of 2. For the 3-dimensional one, just as it is, you end up getting powers of 3. So the ratio is 3, right? And so therefore generalizing, you could just say that the ratio between the sums of each of the rows that we get here are just going to be the power of whatever dimension you're working in. And that's it. Nothing really super interesting. It was kind of cool just to realize that, but you know, it took like 5 minutes. So then I said, well, wait, if I just took the two-dimensional one and I instead of adding just one row to get the next thing, what if I did 2 rows? So in this particular case, instead of being a 1 on the outside, like it would normally be, what if it was 1 plus 1 from the layers, 2 layers above it? So I get 2. And then that would get us a 1 plus 2 gets you 3, 2 plus 3 gets you 5, 3 plus 5 gets you 8, just like Fibonacci. So the outside edge is just a Fibonacci sequence. Okay, cool. That by itself, that's kind of interesting. But then what happens if you trace a triangle around all of the things that are going to get you the next number? So again, all things outside the triangle are zeros. Probably not. I don't actually know if there is anything that this does. It could very well have a use. It could have absolutely no use at all. I bet if I publish it, somebody will find a use very quickly. So anyway, yeah, if you extend this from, you know, I called it a Fibonacci triangle. Okay, if we do now add the 3 layers above it, then this becomes a what I called a Tribonacci triangle. And then I did this for a bunch, so I made it like a Decanacci. So it adds up 10 rows to get the next one. And then I said, okay, what if we don't limit it? So this is just going to be the sum of everything that is above it within this triangle. And so we end up with, it is a convergent value in every case. It converges to different values, but then the convergence values also converge to this number. So 2 plus the square root of 2. I was like, I did that. I figured that out. Woo! So I've got to figure out, I got to figure out LaTeX pretty soon and actually publish it. Which, granted, I have read a Twitter thread where somebody was like, you know, my research fellow just 100% uses Word with equation editor. Like, you don't have to learn LaTeX, but yep, that'll work too. But this is also not handwritten. It's all in an Excel file. Matt Parker would backhand me for that. Dude's like, why would you use an Excel sheet when you could just use a database? Like, I tried using a database once. It didn't do what I wanted it to, so I was just like, yeah, that's also true. And I could just, yeah, I could just get over it. But yeah, going out to some ridiculous number of decimal places, like it converges to 2 plus the square root of 2. I have confirmed that. Speaking of notes, I read the next couple of chapters in Peter Liljedahl's Building Thinking Classrooms, and holy crap, I have got a lot of work to do before fall. The chapter on notes basically says that, like, you should get all the students to do their group work, in randomly assigned groups of 3, just like we've been talking about on this stream for a few times now. And then like highlight individual snippets on everybody's individual boards around the room, and say, like, you know, don't erase this, but whatever you want elsewhere on the board. And then you intentionally start talking, called consolidation. So you start consolidating everybody's ideas from the bottom, not from the top, as generally is done in other classrooms. Saying, like, okay, who wants to volunteer their solution? No. Nope. The practice that, according to their paper, produced the best results. I shouldn't say paper. Papers produce the best results is you get everybody to walk around the classroom, and you don't take a linear path going all the way around. You basically, like, make them walk as much as humanly possible between all of the things. Get them to, like, everybody crowd around this one thing. Now, everybody take a look at this. What is it that this group did? Don't ask the group members. Ask the rest of the class, what is it that you think these people did here? So this is called a gallery walk, and it's proven to be the best in terms of, like, across the board, it produced better results than, like, your standard, let's just sit here and go over questions. Yep. Because here's the thing, right? When you do this sort of thing, students have to think about it. They can't just go off of what they had, because what they had might not be the same as what these people have. And that's perfectly fine. Then the students all individually are thinking inside their heads, like, how to explain what it is they see. You call on a few different people, okay, move on. Go to the next one. But again, not to the next group. Go across the room to number 2. Okay, on number 2, what did these people do? Okay, once you're done with that, good. Go over here. Go over here to number 3. Go over there to number 4. Get them to walk as much as humanly possible. Like, zip zap all the way around the room in, like, a star pattern, essentially hitting all, as you know, not every single board will get caught every single day. But here you force the students to think what it is that they're seeing. And by forcing them to think about it, instead of just being, like, you know, passive and whatever, somebody else will understand it. I don't need to understand it right now in this moment. Like, no. They will understand it in this moment. This is how you need to do it. Then you tell them to go back to their seats, and as a group, create notes. Notes that will not just be word for word what's on the boards, because you're not going to make it. You're not going to copy it down. You're not going to get it. Instead, you do, like, one worked out example, and then put signposts all over it to say, like, watch out for this. Make sure you include this. Hey, and you don't use it as, again, word for word notes or some sort of, like, you know, everybody has the same thing. No. Again, you only write down things that you think you're going to need in 3 weeks. If you're going to remember it, don't bother. But anything that you might forget in 3 weeks' time, you need to write down. And that's going to be different for every single student. So you know, as the teacher, I can't tell them that you need to write this. No. It's all up to them. Now, granted, I teach 2-year college students, so, you know, they're all mostly 17 through 22-ish. Most of them have had some sort of math phobia. Most of them have had struggles. So most of my classes, generally speaking, have been pre-calculus 1 through calculus 2. Last semester I did Calc 2 and Pre-Calc 1, and then I had a developmental class and an online Pre-Calc 1. Pre-Calculus 1 is functions, so function analysis. Oh no, I had a Calc 1 class. Calc 1. So that would be multivariate calculus. Or real. Oh, by Calc 3, do you mean real analysis? No. Uh-oh. Multivar, yeah. Yeah, no, we've had a few people in here who are on a quarter system, and so, like, all their numbers are completely different. Laplace transformations, yep. Yeah, differential equations is actually my specialty, just because that's I've spent the most time really thinking about it. And I don't mean that in terms of teaching classes, but like taking classes. I've spent the most time thinking about differential equations. I had to run the 5-credit pre-calculus sequence, which is both pre-calc 1 and pre-calc 2 in the same semester. And it's so fast that the students don't learn anything, like 90% of the time. It's not working out terribly well. And then our president was like, hey, so we're going to do this 7-week thing. And I said, I volunteer for tribute because I said, hey, my class would be a perfect example of we already do this thing, but if we transfer to 7-week courses instead of 15-week courses, this means that the students get to split the two sections of the class. Your pre-calc 1, which is going to be your function analysis, and your pre-calc 2, which is going to be your trig, into 2 separate sections, which now get a grade in the middle. Instead of being 5 credits, they are 3 and 3. And they get this checkpoint in the middle, which will get them credit or tell them that they're not good enough, try again. Oh, and by the way, you might want to do pre-calc 1 in a 15-week. Because clearly it wasn't working for you this time. Absolutely. Yeah, if you... I learned at about Calc 2. It no longer works for you to just say, give me a recipe, let's knock it out. Like, this is the moment where you have to learn the recipe as, well, we need flour in order to bind these ingredients together. We need eggs to serve as a liquid binder. We need, milk in order to get the emulsion that's going to mix the thing. Like, you need to understand the ingredients and what they do. Yes, absolutely. And that is what I am all about, generally speaking. So when I try to do stuff here, I usually don't just like, hey, let's think about the one way to make this work. If it's something that I actually understand, I will delve and I will explain about as far as I could possibly do it. And hopefully in multiple different ways so that people can see that this isn't just one thing. Like, here's the goal. Yeah, here's the much larger understanding that we all need. Yeah. Proofwriting for me was discrete. It was called math proof in at the University of New Hampshire. That was my alma mater. And where I teach now, it's called discrete structures. You'll definitely get some proofs in complex, but then what you got to also understand is that complex is much more like differential equations generally than than it is like real analysis. At least in most places that I've seen it. Oh man. Yeah, nice. I have my complex notebook also doubled as my karate notebook. So I was I would go to karate and like flip through and find the forms that I'd written down, which are, half in Korean transliterated to English. Um, yeah, yep, definitely. But I'd like read over the forms that I'm supposed to do, and then while I'm practicing them, or while I'm doing my stretches, I would flip over to the complex analysis and try to read over some of the stuff. Well, you know how they say physical activity really improves your mental capacities as well, so. I recently came into possession of several hundred books, I think. Um, and I'm covering the professor's name, but this is an ex-professor from one of our, or not this, but the guy who owned this book was an ex-professor from a local university. And one of my friends was cleaning out his attic because he's 80 something, and was leaving his home to go live in a assisted living, I think. And he was like, "Oh, you probably want this, right?" I'm like, "I don't know. Sure, let's go for it." Yep. My favorite was the irregular shape that turns into a semicircle. I was like, "Oh." So I found, several of the differential equations books that he had that include both the like ODE, partial DE, and other cool stuff like that. Things that I would have known at least something about. And I found lectures on ordinary differential equations by Witold Rejewicz. um, the uh, preface, or the immediate piece that follows the preface, is a little thing. I think I'm going to probably end with this tonight, but this is one thing that I read excerpts out of to my to my Calc 2 class, because I said that I think that probably one of the greatest mistakes that we have made in the past 100 years is to dehumanize mathematics and turn it into much more of a process rather than a story about people who have done hard work to discover all this cool stuff. And then, like, who are these people? Like, I think you should look up a few of the mathematicians that you hear about in this class. Try to understand their stories, not just like what they did, but who they were. Yeah, also possibly true. Yeah, I mean, like, and the fact that he went blind and then still worked on stuff, it was like, come on. Grothendieck, yes, and I found out recently that he passed. Yeah. And I was like, what is that? So anyway, I'm gonna read a little bit out of this. So this is Witold Hrabowicz in memoriam, Solomon Lefschewitz. Last September 6th, now keep in mind this is 1957, so he passed in 1956. Last September 6th was a black day for mathematics, for on that day there disappeared as a consequence of an accidental fall from a pyramid in Uxmal, Yucatan, Witold Hrabowicz, one of the most capable and lovable mathematicians to be found anywhere. He had just attended the International Symposium on Algebraic Topology, which took place during August at the National University of Mexico, and had been the starting lecturer and one of the most active participants. He had come to Mexico several weeks before the meeting, and had at once fallen in love with the country and its people. As a consequence, he established himself from the very first a warm friendship between himself and the Mexican mathematicians. His death caused among all of us here a profound feeling of loss, as if a close relative had gone, and for days one could speak of nothing else. So it goes through a whole bunch of stuff, his basic biography, some of his backstory, some of the things that he did, still others. Still another noteworthy concept dealt with by Hrabowicz is that of fiber space. And then the last paragraph. On the human side, Witold Hrabowicz was an equally exceptional personality, a man of the widest culture, a first-rate and careful linguist. One could truly apply to him nihil homini a me alienum puto. Tales were also told of his forgiveness, which made him all the more charming. Altogether, we shall not soon see his equal. So, just a glowing recommendation of... I think that what Solomon Lefschewitz has done here is really given a picture of a mathematician that, like, you should know who this is. And I, throughout all of my studying of differential equations, throughout going through ordinary differential equations, the master's version of ordinary differential equations, and then partial and nonlinear differential equations. Like, I took 4 massive classes on differential equations. Not once have I heard this guy's name. I don't think I had heard of a mathematician newer than, the 1900s, maybe 1840. I mean, like, I thought, like, Runge Kutta, I think probably is the newest. The Latin phrase that was in there, if anybody didn't catch it, nihil homini a me alienum puto, is, I think that nothing is alien to man from me. Or... I think that no man is alien to me, I think. You know, it's not always 100%. Or nothing of man's. I didn't take Latin, so you know, obviously. But you know, having a friend of his, right? Granted, maybe it's a little biased because he was a friend of his, but nonetheless. Tales were also told of his forgetfulness, which made him all the more charming. Altogether, we shall not soon see his equal. Really, I think settles in this idea that, you know, we need the human story behind all of this stuff. And so one of the things that I was really adamant about with my students this last semester, I was really pushing toward getting all of my students to come in and talk to me for a half an hour about whatever. Doesn't matter. Circles disturbed. Interplay mathematics narrative. So they just had to come in and talk to me for half an hour. It didn't matter about what. Just, you know, trying to get, like, who are you, right? And that way I could serve them better as students, and they would understand me better as a teacher, and not be so intimidated by the fact that I'm a teacher. Because, I mean, this is college, right? You're supposed to start developing a relationship with the people that obviously you're going to get much more into if it's your field of study. You need to get involved with the people who are going to be running that program. But even if it's not, right? Start developing relationships with your professors to really understand who they are and where they're coming from. Because they need to understand you as students, who you are and where you're coming from. So. I just want to make sure everybody's really getting it, you know? And of course it makes it really difficult, but we'll get there. It'll make it work. Okay, I think we are going to go raid out tonight. Tonight we've got... Oh, nice. That's really helpful. If you have one person that's like a constant. And whether it's your actual teacher or like even... Right, and even if it isn't... Even if it's not necessarily like your tutor who's been assigned to you or your tutor that you've hired or whatever, or the professor or TA or somebody like that. Like, even if you just had a grad student, even if you just had a friend who's taken the same classes as you, like, that really helps. Just having somebody who's a constant. And, I mean, colleagues and other students in the same class aren't necessarily gonna help, but being able to say like, oh, I know these people from last semester or what have you. All right, I think tonight, let's see. I think we're going to go see Ellie. I don't know how long she's going to be on, but she's doing Aliens Fireteam Elite. If anybody doesn't really want to watch that, no problem. I'll catch you around at some point. So we will be back on Friday for some game stuff. I've got, I just finished Final Fantasy VII Remake Intermission. And I might want to go back and do like one of the Oh, there's a new... I unlocked some stuff. So I might want to go back and try that again. I've also been playing like the hard mode on the standard story with Cloud. So that's been interesting. Might do some of that. May decide to go and find some new games. I've got a few things that are on the waiting list. And Final Fantasy VII, the original or the slightly remastered version, is also working on that. RimWorld I have not, but it's also like the survival in the style of Prison Architects. May not 100% appeal to me. I don't know. Like I've seen it, but obviously I don't know terribly much about it. Anyway, and then next Tuesday I will be back for more math stuff. So if anybody wants to come in, you can come in with questions and do all sorts of other stuff like that. TIS 100 from Zachtronics. Zachtronics, I still need to go back. Oh man, I still need to go back. Dude, I still need to finish Kerbal Space Program 1. Like, I haven't even landed on the moon. Like, that is how bad I am. Yeah. Well, it'll fix itself soon. All right, we're about to get moved on. So anyway, I'll see you on Tuesday for math stuff. I'll see you on Friday for game stuff. Thank you so much for coming. This is Obi-Wan Pez for n-Simplex Pachinko. Have a good night.